Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 132 of the J Situation Podcast. I'm recording this on September 27th, 2022. Man, I hope we're all doing well. We are in the fall season, and it's almost October, which once again means it's almost Halloween, and then almost Thanksgiving, and then almost Christmas. And deer season is coming, and it's a wonderful time of year. It's my favorite. It's my favorite time of year. So that's a joyous time. It is. It has been a difficult week for me because I had a family member involved in a car accident, actually, and it was very bad. But they are doing better, and so that has been something we have been dealing with lately. If I have been tardy in my replies to you this week, around or since last week, that's why. Okay, so please just give me a little bit of grace and patience right now during this time, and I'll be back in the swing of things soon. Things are improving. Okay, and speaking of getting back into the swing of things, I've been walking the dog using dual helmet mounted thermal, so that's fun. Hoping to get out in nature this weekend and do more of that. To continue the PEW Science Predator project. That's right. I actually just received a Chinese copy of the famed RQE KVC bridge. For those of you who know what that is, I have a pretty strong stance on not procuring Chinese stuff if I can help it. But it cost me thousands to get a real RQE bridge. Okay, and to my knowledge, they aren't being made anymore. So I figured I could spend less than $200 on eBay, evaluate a Chinese copy, and see how it is, see how it performs and, the ins and outs of it. And I figured maybe I can help folks out that would otherwise not even be able to use a bridge like that because of the cost, and it's not available anymore, I'll talk about it on the next Predator Project update. And I think I mentioned it a little bit on the last Predator Project update, but it has quite a lot of adjustment and some features that a lot of other bridges don't, and it's fairly lightweight. It's not the lightest, but it's pretty good. And so it's a relatively popular bridge for a helmet when folks want to combine night vision or thermal or just use dual thermals, and it's even good for two PVS-14s as well. And so we'll see how the Chinese copy is. Okay, I'll speak about that on the next Predator Project update. All right, let me use it for a week or so. I messed with it all this afternoon, and so far I'm kind of liking what I see. But let me spend a little more time with it to give you folks my full opinions. Okay, yeah. And by the way, if you are looking to start your own Predator project, and who could blame you, really? You could check out the fine folks at High End Armament. That's right, this episode of the podcast is brought to you by High End Armament Technology, a dealer of exactly that, high-end arms and accessories. They have significant longevity in the machine gun and the NFA game, as well as significant expertise in both the procurement and operation of night vision, thermal optics, and infrared sighting systems. That's right. Robert and his crew have decades of experience and actual knowledge of the gear. They do use it. They know what they're doing. So, if there's a weapon system that's rare and you're having trouble locating it, or if you need to get into the night vision or thermal game, or maybe you want a transferable machine gun and you don't know a trustworthy place to buy one, or maybe you want to get into all kinds of crazy stuff that you don't normally see at your everyday gun shop, they're a great place to call, okay? Check them out at highendarms.com, on Instagram at highendarms, and they even have a Facebook page, which is also High End Arms, okay? I hope they can help you out if you need it. Tell them Jay sent you, okay? And as always, the J Situation Podcast is proudly sponsored by Silencer Shop. That's right, you can use their kiosk, do your fingerprints and photos electronically, and in turn, you cut down on errors. You simplify your silencer purchasing process. You get a money-back guarantee. It's great. No transfer fees, no paperwork errors, just you and your silencer with no drama. It truly is silencer ownership simplified. Also, check out True Shot Gun Club out of Arizona. There's a code on the website, PEW Science. If you go to their website and you want to get $20 off their A-Zone membership for free shipping on ammo the whole year, use code PEW Science at checkout. Get $20 off that membership. And if you click the links to get to their website from the PEW Science website, you will help the podcast, okay? It's one of those click things. Helps out everybody. And finally, as always, and most importantly, this podcast is brought to you by PEW Science. Pushing the science industry forward, one test at a time. Visit pewscience.com for the suppression rating. It is the simplest and the most accurate hearing safe ratings for your suppressed small arms. They're based on true human inner ear response of the entire gunshot before the combustion takes place, all the way until all the combustion is gone. PEW Science is the home of the silencer sound standard. There are 7 sections. It's the most in-depth and accurate silencer data and analysis in the world. Check it out on pewscience.com. You can support today. You can support this podcast, PEW Science, and our testing by joining with a membership at pewscience.com. There's a donate feature on the review page and the podcast page. Every little bit helps. And something that's free, doesn't cost you anything. You can spread the word. Give this podcast a 5-star rating on iTunes and Spotify and all that good stuff. Let folks know that silencers and guns are awesome. We will accomplish our goal of normalizing suppressed small arms. Okay, now, I got 3 topics for you today. Okay, this is going to be another quick one, just to the nature of what we're doing this week, but it's going to be awesome. Topic 1, listener questions. They're back. That's right. Let's see how far we can get in the group from the 4th solicitation. I bet we can finish today. We're going to give it the old college try. Okay. Topic 2, new sound signature reviews this week. That's right. Reviews, plural, multiple reviews. An important data set, I think. A novel discovery. I'll share that with you this week. And then topic 3, we are in the tail end of 2022, and the effort is strong. PEW Science members have stuck with it, and your support has fueled incredible research. It has. As more host weapons are added to the standard, applicability of the data will continue to grow. Okay? Take my word for it. Just want to tell you that. And so thank you for making this reality. Just want to give thanks, like I always do, to all the great people out there. Okay. Let's move into topic 1 in a time of 7 minutes and 11 seconds. Okay. Very good. Topic 1. Listener questions. That's right. I figured we gotta, I want, so many people have so many questions all the time. I was like, man, we gotta finish this 4th solicitation. It's been hanging over our head. So what I'm gonna do, I mean, are we going to finish it? We're going to try. We're going to give it the old college try here. I don't think we have that many left, so let's do it. Okay. I'm going to go into our spreadsheet right now. Okay. Go into our spreadsheet. Let's make sure that's still recording. Okay, that's good. I don't want to close that. Wouldn't that be talking to a dead mic for an hour? That'd be great. Okay. All right. I just opened our spreadsheet. We're in the 4th solicitation of listener questions. Last time, we left off on global question number 267, local question number 70 of the 4th solicitation. And that question was, when will you test 300 blackout on a Nomad 30 and a Nomad L? No, I'm sorry. That question was, when will you test 300 blackout on a Nomad 30 and on a Nomad L and 5.56 on a Nomad 30? And I went on to answer that question and say, it's coming. It is. And for real. Is coming, and yeah, stay tuned. Okay, just have to stay tuned. Whenever I get asked about nomads, I shy away from it because I didn't know if it was going to change again. You can hear my full answer to that on the last time we did listener questions. Okay, global question number 268, local question number 71. Let's kick off this episode here. How do you prioritize non-contract reviews? Personal interest, member interest, or other? Man, that's a really good question. I think I've talked about this with some people, but maybe not on the podcast. So thanks for asking that, sir, ma'am. I will address that now. PEW Science member interest is one major factor. Or maybe I should go back and explain their question a little more. So this lady or gentleman is asking, how do I prioritize the non-contract reviews? So if you guys have noticed, a lot of the reviews that have been happening lately have been under contract, meaning that companies have solicited us for professional test lab and analysis, engineering analysis services, and we have fulfilled those contracts and published the result of that work. And then I give a disclaimer on the website to show you, that was a paid effort. So like this data, that disclaimer is not really to let you know that it's a paid effort. It's more to let you know that data and analysis is someone's product they paid for that they're allowing you to see. Okay. Yeah, it's transparent, I guess. But the reason I tell you is because I want you to know that that's their decision, that they're wanting you to see it. And that's why I put that disclaimer on there, okay? And so this lady or gentleman is asking, well, when that doesn't happen, like most of the reviews on PEWScience.com are not like that. They're like, well, how do you prioritize the stuff that folks aren't asking you to do under contract? Like the stuff that you're just, like, do you get a wild hair up your butt or do you listen to members? That's what this person is asking. So to answer that, I'll tell you that PEWScience member interest is a major factor. It really is. Another major factor is community interest, or general applicability to the state of practice is a big one. Okay, for example, I'll give you a really good example. I can tell you there's going to be Sandman S 556 data coming. It's coming, okay? And is that, and in this particular case, is that because of dead air? Is dead air paying for that? That test program and analysis and all that engineering work? No, absolutely not. They're not doing that at all. The reason why that's going to be coming is because it's been requested by many PEWScience members, and it also just happens there's a lot of the Sandman S silencer out there in the wild. So I made the command decision to make it happen. I'm not going to wait for a manufacturer to help people by showing data. I'm going to, or to want help themselves. I'm going to do it when I think it's important enough. Now, why hasn't it been published sooner? You might ask. Well, Jay, if you knew that a lot of people had the Sandman S and they're using it on 556, how come you didn't publish it sooner? Well, other priorities. Okay. I mean, I think I gave you Sandman S 308 data a long time ago. In fact, I think it was one of the first 308 silencers reviewed by PEWScience, actually. Okay, and that was, and guess what? That was also internally funded by PEWScience. Internally funded by PEWScience. Okay, so let's take it. Okay, and here's another. I just thought of another one. YHM Turbo. You ever heard of that? A YHM Turbo? You probably have. There's going to be 556 data with that coming too. Why hasn't it been released yet? Priorities. I mean, guys, you know what's a priority for a business? It's contracts. Okay? That's right. Okay, so what? I'm going to start doing free. You got to know. Think about it. There are many silencers and many hosts. And what PEWScience members want, and what the public wants, and what clients are funding, it all has to be balanced. There's a lot of stuff going on. There was and actually, I'll tell you a story. And this is, some of you industry guys are going to kick out of this. I'll keep it safe. I'm not going to blow up anyone's spot. But there was a guy who works for a silencer company. To remain nameless, I'm not going to name any names. This guy, he told someone, because I saw the messages, he told someone that I, Jay, at PEWScience, should give my audience what they want and give them data for a certain silencer that his company makes. But the thing about that is that company doesn't fund any of the research. So that silencer industry employee was complaining that I didn't give his company free R&D. That's what he was complaining about, like in writing. This isn't hearsay. Okay, this is not hearsay. This is not third hand. This is him saying it. Okay, and that's the gun industry for you, isn't it? It's like, relax, dude. Like, you'll get your free R&D when you get it. Okay, how does that guy know what people want anyway? Oh, that's right. Consumers are asking them for PEWScience data because they want it. Huh. I figured that would happen, right? That's why there's an RFQ page on the website, homie. I'm here when you want the work done. Otherwise, I'm going to get to it when I get to it. It's like, don't. I couldn't believe it. I saw that. I was like, oh my God, wow, he's like really aggressive right now. The guy was super aggressive, dogging me, because I didn't give his company free. It's like, well, oh, you want free engineering? Well, cool. You going to get me free guns? What, you want to trade me something? It's like, It was so crazy. I'm like, sometimes I'm like, do you guys like actually? Maybe it's because they work for the companies and they don't own them, so they don't know how money works with like. I don't know how it is. I don't. It's like, have you never owned a business? Like, have you never worked, like had a job? It's like when you go to work, someone's gonna pay you for your time. What, you're gonna get paid for not working? Well, then why should I give you work when you not pay me? Like, this is crazy. It's a crazy. And I've noticed, and when I said it was the gun industry for you, I was being a little facetious and kind of joking, but I've noticed this industry is like people just want everything for free. They're like, oh, yeah, so I work for so-and-so company. Can I have XYZ? And I hear about it all the time. People that work for gun companies or like optic companies or I don't know, whatever company in the gun space people work for. I've seen it happen where people are like, oh, yeah, like can you give me a gun for free? And the gun company's like, what? It's like, this is like a $2,000 gun. And he's like, yeah, but I work in the industry. And the guy at the gun company is like, have you lost your mind, dude? This is a $2,000 firearm. Like, I see it all the time, and it's no different with this. Like I'll see people, like I've had people come to PEW Science like, oh yeah, can you go ahead and do this and this, and then I want you to do this, and I'm like, are you high? You must be high. It's like, this isn't a charity, dude. Like, this is a legitimate, like a research cooperative business. It's like you don't contribute anything to the research, and then you don't want to do anything under contract, but you want me to test and do all the R&D and give it to your engineers for free. That's what you want. Cool. Okay, that's literally one of the most insane things I've ever heard. Okay, hope that answers your question. Priorities. How do I pick? Well, I do my best, dude. But I got people. I got companies using me for R&D, and a lot of times they take priority because that's how the world works. Question number 269, subquestion 72. J situation spits hot data. Fire emojis. Oh, that's right. I remember this. I remember transcribing this question. I try my best, sir or ma'am. I try my best. Stay tuned this week. Actually, it's gonna be hot. The data, fire, as the kids say. Global question 270. Local question number 73. Will the AB Raptor series be tested? The 8 plus reflex chamber has been astonishing thus far. Thanks. Astonishing. That's a pretty high bar. Thank you for the question. I've had a few requests for some AB silencers. Not a ton of requests, but I've had a couple. Really old school design AB silencers from what I've seen so far. They look a lot like the original Maxim silencers. If you've ever seen the original Maxim silencers, those AB silencers are old school designs. I mean, it's interesting. I think I'm sure I'll test them eventually. This is none of those cases where it's like that company knows where I am. It's like they've never spoken with me, so it's like I don't know. Like look, I haven't even given you Salmon S data on 556 yet. Like that's definitely coming before an AB Raptor. Like I don't even know. I don't know what AB Raptor looks like. I think it's one. I guess it's a reflex, like you just said. But I'd venture to guess there's an order of magnitude more Salmon S's in consumer hands than an AB Raptor, which means the usefulness of the data utility would be significantly higher. So that just goes. This is topical, right? It's a topical thing that if you talk about data priority, it's like, well, like why on earth would I test an AB Raptor before I would a Salmon S on 556 unless AB Raptor or unless AB suppressors was using me for R&D? Well, then that would be different. Like then that was a higher priority. See, so I'm not saying that's how it works all the time, but that's it. Does that make sense? Yeah, man, gotta eat. Okay, global question number 271. Local question number 74. CGS Helios QD TI 300 blackout review. Oh man, I want to say I have that data somewhere. I don't think I know that was not. I did not test that under contract with CGS, did I? I'm trying to think if I've tested that with CGS. like under like for one of the contracts. And I don't know. I think if I did it, I think it was actually separate. I want to say that was with PEW Science funding. I tested that, and I think I've done it. So let me find that and let me get that done. Let me make a note. QDTI 300 data. Yeah, I need to get that published, and I need to finish that. Yeah. Thanks for the reminder. That would be a really good companion data set for the Hyperion K subsonic 300 blackout that I think I've released. I have. Yeah. That would be a good companion data set for that. I've published Hyperion. Dude, I can't remember. Hold on. I'm going to go to the website. 1 second, guys. I'm sorry. All right. I'm going to go to the rankings, and I'm going to go to, let's see. I'll just go to ammunition. I'll go to subsonic 300 blackout only. Bam. And then I'm going to scroll down. See just Hyperion. Oh, Hyperion K. Yep. So there is Hyperion K data, but there is not Helios QDTI 300 blackout data. So that's, I'm pretty sure it's going to be quieter than Hyperion K from what you understand about those silencers, right? Isn't that correct with subsonic? Should be, right? I don't know if I'm talking out of turn, but it should be. Cool. Thank you for the question. Question 272, sub-question 75. Is there a significant difference in test results between compensators, flash hiders, or direct thread mounts? Man, thank you for the question. We've talked about this several times. I'll just kind of address this quickly, since I think I've mentioned this several times in the podcast. There can be a difference, sir, ma'am. It's going to depend on the silencer. It's going to depend on the cartridge. It's going to depend on the barrel length and the flow regime in general, I think. So some silencers are pretty simple. And for certain flow regimes, it doesn't matter much. It's interesting. Other times, you put those simple silencers on a certain gun, and then the mount matters more. It's weird. Or, you have a silencer like the Surefire stuff, the RC2 series, those silencers, they depend on the mount to work properly. You got the 3-prong versus the war comp stuff. Remember the war comp reviews? Now that's not exactly your question, but it is important, because the war comp is a special case, but it's a very popular mount with a very popular silencer, and those results are drastic. I've seen people who say they don't care about the difference, and then I've seen people who say, "Oh my God, thank you for publishing it," because I know there's a difference. We can see the shock wave difference at your face with the war comp. So that's a big deal. You know about that. And then, think about we were just talking about the Helios QDTI. So the Helios from CGS, the Helios QD system, that thing can be a different animal depending on mount. And I've tested some stuff in R&D with that. So to answer your question in a broad way, sir, ma'am, it just depends. It's going to depend. Okay, and maybe we'll get into some of that in the coming months. Thank you for the question. Global question number 273, sub-question 76. Could you please give data on the Gen 2 Nomad? Is it identical in performance with the TI? Let me get some water. And I read that in the way it was written. He said, could you please, or actually he said, please, he used the please had a lot of E's at the end of the word. So I don't really know how to pronounce that, but what he meant was please. Okay. Thank you for the question. So let me actually explain his question, or her question. So they're asking, okay, so what have I published so far? Actually, you know what? Let's use the rankings table. Keep going back. I should just keep the website open. Let me go back to the website, go into rankings. What I'll do is I'll go to, I'm going to scroll down to the table. I'm going to click on the silencer dropdown, and I'm going to look at, how am I going to do this for this? I'll go scroll down to Nomad only. Oh, that's Nomad L. Oops. Nomad TI only, and then Nomad 30, I'll click that too. Okay, so I have 2 reviews selected. So it looks like the 2 Nomad reviews I have the Nomad TI on Supersonic 308, and then I have a Nomad 30 first gen on Supersonic 308. Those are sound signature reviews 43 and 44 respectively. So those were a while back. Okay, those were a while back. Okay, so what this person is saying, well, they're like, well, gosh, can you have the Nomad 30 first gen, you have the Nomad TI. Well, can you give the second gen Nomad 30? And furthermore, they're asking, is the Gen 2 Nomad 30 the same as the Nomad TI that's already published? Okay, so that's their question, and then now you have context. So then now let me give you an answer. So I got in trouble actually because I called the Nomad 30 that I tested Gen 1. Well, when it is in fact Gen 1. Now, the Nomad TI and the Nomad 30 that I have in inventory for PEW Science right now, they perform completely differently, just like you saw in the reviews. Okay, they're completely. So I stopped. Okay, I got in trouble because people were like, oh, Dead Air was upset because they're like, well, you're telling people that there's a Gen 1 and it's like, well, it's different, It's like, so I stopped. I actually stopped testing Nomads because there's no designation, there's no official designation for those silencers. Like there's if you look at them, there's no engraving or there's no SKU or part number. Like there's no Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, and I have no idea what serial number ranges correspond to what performance. Okay? And that's not my rodeo. That's not my job, dude. Okay? And also, because Dead Air is not a client or a supporter of the effort, I'm not gonna test some random Nomad assuming it's a Gen 2. I'm not doing that. Okay, that's a whole can of worms, dude. You have Nomad 30 data from the beginning. And you have Nomad TI data. And from what I have been told, the Nomad 30 is now like the Nomad TI. And if that's true, I don't know if it is. I don't work for that company, so I can't tell you for sure. But if it is, I'm not going to cut one open and mic it. It's not crazy. I'm crazy. I'm not doing it. It's not my job. So look, it's like if the Nomad 30 is like the Nomad TI, then you're good because you got both. You're good. Okay? You're good. I don't know. Now, I can't say if it's identical or not because I can tell you right now, even if it was the same, I can tell you right now, the Nomad L and the Nomad LT is what's called, right? The LT, the titanium version of the Nomad L. I can tell you those don't have identical performance. And I think I got in trouble for saying that too. But it's true. Okay, so even if the latest Nomad 30 and the Nomad TI are dimensionally identical, which I don't even know if they are, what if the difference between the Nomad what if the physical difference between the Nomad 30 and the latest Nomad 30s and the Nomad TI are the same as the physical differences between the Nomad L and the Nomad LT? Even if they were, I can't guarantee it'd be identical performance. And actually. And you more you think about the Nomad L series, something weird might happen because Nomad Ls are actually somewhat unpredictable. They're a somewhat unpredictable silencer in performance. They're the Nomad baffle that's the baffle that's used in the Nomad series. It scales in a weird way. When you get longer than a Nomad, and you make the Nomax, which is what the original name for Nomad L was before it was released, a long time ago, years and years ago when Todd just added baffles to it and he made the Nomax because he wanted the quietest thing he could make with the baffle. When you do that, when you just add baffles to a Nomad, it scales weird. I think I've seen some interesting things in the data. It doesn't behave like you would think all the time, and I'm pretty sure I talked about that in the Nomad L 308 reviews. So that's a long answer to your question. Is could you please give data on the Gen 2 Nomad? It's you have Nomad TI data. So as far as I'm concerned, you probably have the highest performance Nomad data for the Nomad of its size already. So for me to test another Nomad that's in between the two, what kind of I was going to curse. What kind of storm would I bring? Do you think that's a good idea? to waste internal PEW Science funding on that, and then what? What's going to happen? What happens when it performs worse than the TI? And then people are like, why is, and then I'm like, oh, well, here we go. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, man. I would have no way of knowing, the serial number ranges. So if let's say I bought a brand new Nomad 30 right now and I tested it, and then obviously there's been changes in the Nomad line. So like what it's going to be the same as the one like last year? Or what about 2 years ago? Well, what about 3 years ago? Well, when was the one that I have in the inventory manufactured? You see what I mean? So then I start changing my tail, and then it's a slippery slope. So I felt like giving you a data set of the Nomad I had, the Nomad 30, and the Nomad TI. I think I said this in the reviews that was a bound. Okay, it was a bound of response, meaning that in between that low and high, you got your answer. And I think right now, with our priorities and the fact that that company's not even involved with the effort, I think that's how I'm going to leave it. Okay? And so I'm going to continue to test the TI and the Nomad 30 on other, which I have, on other host weapons, and you're going to get those bounds. And we're going to continue with that. Because that way I've bounded the performance of the silencer in a known way. Okay? I'm not going to play funny business with like some kind of crazy stuff that we have no record of, because that's just tomfoolery, and I don't have time for it, and no one's paying me for it, so no. Okay, global question number 274, local question 77. Is there a way to clear the silencer of air for a shot with a valve, with an end cap film, or cover for hunting applications? Man, these questions are so topical, even though they were asked a while back. We just talked about this on social media. Yes, sir, or ma'am, there is a way. Over the years, several people have made things to do that. It actually goes back, and you know what? Someone shared an Accuracy International contraption that did it. But one thing that's actually available now, I think he's selling them or giving them away. He gave me one. David at Discrete Ballistics. He made it's a real simple apparatus. He called his the Pop Stop. It's a little coupling. You can put it on your barrel, and then you put this, and then you screw the silencer onto it, so it fits between the silencer and your barrel. Okay, and between your silencer and your barrel muzzle, and it has a little valve on the side to inject CO2. It's like a little check valve there. And so you use like a little CO2 cylinder like you used to use on your little BB guns. You put it on there and you inject CO2. You inject CO2 into the silencer volume, into the internal silencer volume. And what that does is it'll force the air out, probably into the barrel and then into, out of the end cap there. And then what you can do after you've displaced the air for a period of time, until, of course, you get natural ingress from the barrel, you can put a condom over the end of the silencer, over the front of the silencer there. And then for a certain amount of time, and I haven't tested this yet, for a certain amount of time, until air ingress occurs to properly mix inside, you can shoot with a minimal FRP, because you have eliminated the air and therefore the extra oxygen in there to facilitate the extra combustion from the powder. So you can eliminate FRP almost with air displacement. And what you want to do is you want to use an inert gas. You don't want to use, obviously, like, you don't put hydrogen in there or something crazy. Yeah, yes, methane, propane. Don't do that. You don't want to put like a high reactivity fuel in your silencer and then ignite it, and you can possibly have turbulence to detonate. Don't do that. Your flame speed could go supersonic. That would be bad. No, it probably wouldn't detonate. Actually, you have to get a stoichiometric and have a lot of. I guess it depends on your baffle stack. The point is, don't inject flammable vapor into your silencer. What you want to do is you want to use an inert gas. You want to use either nitrogen, and I can imagine you doing that easily, or CO2. CO2 would be, it's not the best thing to do. Nitrogen would be the best, I think. You can use CO2. It'll work. Okay. Hope that helps. You're like, what is he talking about? I say, don't worry about it. Global question 275. Local question 78. Top 5 overall suppressors? Thanks for the question, but man, that's a really open-ended one. And what are you asking? Like in performance? Like for a certain cartridge or weapon platform? Bro. Or broette. Just use the sortable and filterable table at pewscience.com/rankings. That's what it's for. I literally just used it. Okay. Now, top 5 for that's performance. That's what I can tell you. Now, if you're asking something like sales, like top 5 for sales, I don't know. I don't sell silencers. Couldn't tell you. Top 5 of my personal favorites. In no particular order. No, I'm not just gonna say that. Someone's gonna use the information against me, and I don't have time for that right now. I'm not gonna get into an internet argument with some body that gets mad that I said that I like something, and then Jay's bought and paid for. He's a shill. He's biased. He's crazy. No, not even answering that. You don't even know. Someday, you know what I'll do? One day I'll give you a list of my top 5 silencers. But it's not going to be today. Not today, Satan. Global question number 276. Local question 79. I'm just thinking of like the absolute chaos that would ensue if I started endorsing silencers. Are you crazy? It's not even an endorsement, but I'm not allowed to give you my full opinion about, like, I can't tell you the silencers that are my favorite. If I said that, it would be horrible. Trust me, dude. Like, one, I don't care what you buy. I would love to be able to talk to you like man to man and be like, dude, I love the silencer. But if I say that publicly on this podcast, you know what that's going to do? Someone's going to use it against me, and I'm not willing to take that risk. So I'm not going to say it. Because what it's going to do is, Jay said this is his favorite silencer, and then someone's going to put it on a box, or they're going to put it on Gunbroker, and they're going to say, Jay from PEW Science said this is his favorite silencer, and then someone's going to, I'm telling you, it already happens, and it's ridiculous. Okay. So I'm not doing it. Question 276, local question 79. Do you think people are too obsessed with hearing safe, quote unquote? Thank you for the question. Absolutely not. Because hearing safety is dose dependent. And that is the explicit purpose of the suppression rating invented by PEW Science. And the suppression rating literally defines hearing safety as a function of shot dose. So no, I don't think people are too obsessed with that. I think they should use it more. I think they need to be more obsessed with it. In fact, now let me answer this a different way. Now, if from another angle, if sound is not a requirement for you because you're shooting away from all living things and you don't care what hears you and you're wearing double hearing protection with everything you shoot, well, maybe you don't need to worry about sound signature at all. And in that case, I would ask them, why are you even using a silencer? So I don't care about sound. I just want to take the edge off. Okay, well, that's not a real thing. It's like it's dose dependent, guys. Okay, so to answer your question, sir, ma'am, do I think that people are too obsessed with hearing safe? No, because I don't think most people even understand what that means. Okay. I think they need to read the website. Read the Silencer Sound Standard. Global question 277, local question 80. Does the Surefire Optimized Bolt Carrier, or OBC, provide noticeable benefits versus a mil-spec bolt carrier and H3 buffer when used in a semi-auto, but not a machine gun? Excellent question, and I will answer right now. With regard to sound, no. With regard to sound signature, the shooter's ear, no. If you take a mil-spec carrier with an H3, which is largely the same mass, you will get almost the identical sound signature of the shooter's ear on tuned host. I can tell that right now. I think I said that last year because I've done the test. So with regard to sound, no, you're not going to get anything. With regard to reliability, yeah, you're going to get a benefit probably. You're going to have a longer stroke with an OBC, okay, which means more time for your magazine to feed, my friends. It's an incredible bolt carrier. I like the speed of the weapon when you use the OBC. I like how smooth it is with the OBC. I love it. I do. But you're not going to find one because I don't think they're being made right now. So there's that. That sucks. Hope that answers your question. Question 278, local question 81. How did you like the Bear Arms 13.7-inch intermediate gas barrel? I'm dying to get one. Short Dwell Gang. Huh. Thank you for the question, sir, ma'am. You know, dude, that's crazy that you asked that. And I'm reading it right now because I actually took a picture of some uppers this evening that I was going to put. I'll post it with a photo on this podcast. They just sent me I think it's a 14-inch. Oh, let me go to my email really quick. Just bear with me because I want to tell you because I forgot what length it is. Okay, let me put my email. Why does my computer keep freaking out? It's like the cooling fan keeps turning on. I don't know why that is. I'm looking for my conversation with Bear Arms because, it's a 13.9, not a 14. Okay, so what the president, Mr. Philip at Bear Arms in San Antonio, he has made 13.9-inch intermediate length gas 5.56 barrels. And so he sent me one, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to try, because right now I have the 13.7 he sent me, which is 0.2 of an inch shorter, like almost a 1/4 inch shorter. I have it in a Voltor MUR upper receiver with the Knights Armament URX 3.1, right? And it's short, and I can only run certain silencers on it. What I was about to do, like today, I just ran out of time, was I want to break down that upper that I built and take my KAC URX 3.1 and pair it with a 14-inch or with the 13.9-inch Bear Arms intermediate gas barrel. I like all short dwell length barrels with silencers. I think they're cool. So you're asking me if I like the 13.7? Yeah. It was a cool barrel. I didn't evaluate it scientifically. I put it together and shot it and sighted it in. It was awesome. It's like I love short dwell time. Like it's like if I can get short dwell time on an AR, I'm gonna do it. Like I don't know. There's no downside. If you have a short dwell time with a silencer, there's no downside. So yeah, short dwell gang. I mean, that's what I think. Are we going to make it through? How much? I'm going to keep going. Okay. Thank you for the question. Question 279. Sub-question 82. Why did SIG stop manufacturing their 762 Ti QD suppressors? You're asking me why a multi-million-dollar corporation made a decision. I'm flattered that you think I know that. Let me speculate. It's probably like I'll tell you why. Well, I can say something really inflammatory. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say because they need high flow rate, and so people shooting high round counts out of semi-autos suppressed in the military don't die of cancer. That's probably why they stopped making those. Is what I said like more inflammatory than what I was going to say? Probably not. No, that's truth. Probably. You know, contrary to what the marketers of those slant baffle silencers say, that the larger volume doesn't reduce back pressure like to a meaningful degree. Your higher flow rate reduces back pressure to a meaningful degree. So there you go, right? This is PEW Science, you know this. So only took major companies making flow-through designs and PEW Science publishing 2 years of data analysis for people to realize it. But hey, flow rate matters. Oh, what volume? Huh? What volume? It's flow rate, dude. Yeah, so those SIG silencers don't have a high flow rate. Gas city population youth, my friends. So it's a process. People figure out what they need. These soldiers, they're the special teams and stuff. They're shooting all these training rounds. They're dying from cancer, from shooting. I'm not joking. I mean, it's real. So it's like, what? What, you going to keep giving them those silencers? Or are you going to look at the military requirements and be like, we want less death? Okay, well, Let's make a silencer that flows faster. So then they do. Okay, that's probably why, I would say. And if it's not a reason why, well, that's fortuitous, because now that's the case. Because look at the new 6 silencers, which you will see from PEW Science eventually, probably. And global question 280, sub question 83. Any data on the is it chimera? How do you pronounce that? It's not chimera. We're gonna have to Google it because Jay doesn't know how to pronounce something. Because I know it's not a silencer code word. It's a word. It's a chimera. I was right. That is how you pronounce it. Chimera. I clicked on the little Merriam-Webster pronunciation key here. It's chimera. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I just wanted to make sure. I didn't want to say it multiple times and then everyone made fun of me. Yeah, any data on the Chimera 300? This person says they say they bought it. They bought it before seeing the light that is PEW Science. I'm flattered. I haven't really even tested many silencer co-silencers. And surprisingly, I surprisingly don't even get a ton of requests for them. I've had a couple, but I do not get a lot of requests to test silencer co-silencers, and that's interesting to me. And it's really weird, but here we are. I mean, that's how it is. I thought they were really popular. That's what people tell me, but that's why I did the Omega, right? I did the Omega 300. I did the Omega 9K. I did the Harvester. I did the Harvester too. What I need to do is I need to do the Omega 9K on a 9mm pistol and subgun. I haven't done that yet. I don't even have an Omega 300 or Harvester in my inventory anymore. Those were on loan from somebody just to test. I was like, yeah, send me those. I'm going to test them. I think a lot of people are going to need it. And they did. I think people got something out of that data, but I need to get an Omega again because I need to test it on a 5.56. Because I know a lot of people use it on a 5.56. I actually, funny enough, I got an inquiry from a SWAT team today, to remain nameless. They told me that they had Omegas on bolt guns, and they were asking me if I could help them with a silencer selection because their Omegas blew up on their bolt actions, they had weld failures. Isn't that crazy? It's a SWAT team. They're not abusing their bolt guns, dude. Isn't that crazy? They're like, we're moving away from Omegas. It's not working out. We had so many problems. I was like, really? That's crazy. So it's not just consumers. That's interesting, right? I thought that was, I didn't mean to derail this question, but I did get that inquiry today, and I thought it was really, really interesting that they told me that. And I was like, and obviously I can tell you because it's not, I'm not giving you the name of the department because I talk with a lot of departments. A lot of SWAT teams actually talk to me. So I get a lot of feedback from SWAT end users. And today they were like, yep, these Omegas are not cutting it. And I was like, dang, man. So that's interesting. So yeah, I would like to test the Omega a little more. I think it's out there. I think it's a pretty popular silencer in the consumer market. I don't know that it's super popular in law enforcement, but it was with those guys. Yeah. So the Chimera, I should probably test it. I need to. I don't have one. I've never shot one. I hear it's very durable. That's cool. I have gotten some requests for the Osprey pistol silencer, the notional copy of the AAC black box. I need to test one of those. I might do that one on a pistol. That'd be cool. Thank you for the question. Question 281, sub-question 84. Any textbooks or sources you'd recommend to help increase understanding? Absolutely. But you're going to, combustion physics and fluid dynamics at a basic level. But you know what would be a good thing to do? Firearm design textbooks, if you can find them, to understand basic pressure history coming out of a gun barrel. And I don't have any, off the top of my head that I can just read you the titles of to give you, because I'd have to look and see what would be best for your actual education level. But, once you understand what the input is to a silencer, you can start to look at the data on pewscience.com for the output data. You look at the data for the analysis for the output, and so input and output, and then you got what the stuff in the middle is, and then you're going to start to understand stuff more. I think if you understand the input more, and then you start to understand what the silencer has to do, and then you start to really understand the output on pewscience.com, I think that'll help. And then, like, when you look at those gun design textbooks, I think you're going to understand more about the holistic system. When you study internal ballistics, like the ballistics in the barrel, like the bullet travel in the barrel and the gas in the barrel, when you start to learn those physics, I think it helps a lot more with silencer physics, because you understand what you're asking the silencer to do, and then when you look, you have a better appreciation for the output that you see at pewscience.com. Okay, I hope that helps. Question 282, sub-question 85. What is essential for flash mitigation? Oh, I'm going to answer this in the quickest way I can. Okay. What is essential for flash mitigation? A weak shockwave. A weak shockwave is essential to mitigate flash. You need to reduce the shockwave strength at a key flow field and reduce your flash. I don't think you can actually reduce flash without doing that. So at a basic level, what you need to do is reduce the temperature differential across the boundary, but you're not going to do that without managing a shockwave. So that's all rocket science. And if you don't want to mess with rocket science, the very simple answer is use different ammunition that doesn't flash as much. Okay. There's no other way to answer that question besides what I just said, because that's the reality. Okay. Question 283, sub-question 86. Is YHM a solid first can option? Thanks for the question. I don't know. I have no idea. It depends on It depends on your use case. Got my tongue twisted there. It depends on your use case. What are you doing with the silencer? What do you need the silencer to do for you? I don't recommend silencers. And if someone asks me about a certain silencer brand, I have no opinion unless they give me more information, sir, ma'am. I'm sorry. It's like, like when you buy a gun and someone asks, hey, is a Daniel Defense rifle good? I might say to them, yeah, those can be good, but yeah, and why would I say that? I was like, well, they're usually a quality product. So, like if you need a rifle, if you need a rifle, buying one of those might be okay. Daniel Defense or something. Now, for a silencer, what if you're buying one that doesn't work well on your gun? I can't know that without knowing your system and your needs and what you're using it for. So when you say, is YHM a solid first can option? It's like, it could be, dude. They make decent products, and I'm sure. I don't know. I'm tempted to say I'm sure if you went to the YHM website and looked at their silencers, you could find something that worked for you. But then again, I don't know what you're doing. What if you have a gun that they don't make a silencer that's I don't know. I can't answer that question. I'm sorry. They make okay products. They're not going to break or something. I'm sorry. I really can't answer that question in the way you're wanting me to answer it. Question 284, local question 87. Will you be doing more testing regarding muzzle devices and their effect on silencer performance? Oh, 1 second. Didn't we just answer that? I do here and there. We're you know what? We're going to be getting. I will say this. We're going to be getting into some flow regimes in which that is extremely important. So actually, you know what, guys? Stay tuned this week. I want you to stay tuned this week. I've done it with a few silencers that you're going to see me publish. There's one there's actually one. This is unrelated to this week, but there's one I did with 5.56 that I think is going to be cool. And I hope to have time to get into that analysis soon, and that will be cool to show people. I'm excited to see what we learn. So to answer your question, yes, sir, or ma'am. Question 285, sub-question 88. Have we lengthened the bolt or camming to the max? Or could we do more to delay the unlocking? A student of the stoner system, a gentleman or lady and a scholar. They're asking about AR bolts. I think, look, I think the OBC path is different. I think the LMT enhanced is a little bit different too. I know Jim Sullivan did it first. OBC, like what you're talking about, sir, ma'am. Yeah, OBC is already doing it, but I think probably you know what, you might be able to do it more. It gets tricky. I think probably there are some ways to lengthen the delay of unlocking other than that a particular geometry, and it might involve modifying the barrel extension and then the bolt head a little bit. I had some ideas about that. I think there's some room in the stoner system for more delay. I think maybe we go to the whiteboard for this. Yeah, I need a video element with this podcast. Then I could like draw for you. It's like that Bob Ross show, but for guns. Less color. Thank you for the question. That's complicated, but it's got me thinking. Question 286. Sub-question 89. Any future testing plan to quantify what reflex designs actually add, i.e. A/B suppressor? Okay, I guess I'm eating crow. I was like, no one ever asked about those, and 2 questions are right about it. You know what? When I did the solicitation, maybe like AB was marketing their reflex or something. That's probably what happened. I don't know. What are the chances that it gets again like that? This is more actually about reflex designs. You know, guys, reflex designs can be good. They really can. But I think I've said this before. It's all about what you do with that extra volume. Okay? You can't just put a silencer back over a barrel and get awesome performance. You know, if you're using real estate intelligently, then yeah, I think you're going to get dividends. Then there are some things I have seen that show a lot of promise. But again, the AB silencers, I haven't evaluated those. Not yet, I guess. You know. Thank you for the question. Question 287, sub-question 90. Knowing what you know now, how would this change your first suppressor purchase? Oh, that's a really good question. It wouldn't, actually. The first silencer I bought showed me what was possible. I think that was such a long time ago. I think if I had to change anything, because to be clear, knowing what I know now, there's actually not any technology except. No, knowing what I know now, it actually would not change what I bought. So I think if I had to change anything at all in okay, first let me stop this for a second. First of all, in my life, I regret nothing. That's how I live my life. This has nothing to do with guns, or silencers. I'm telling you, people always ask me, do you wish? No. Every single event and decision that has occurred in my life has shaped who I am right now at this moment in the universe. My timeline is the timeline of a human. We exist in this dimension on a time path. We are not able to cross time boundaries in the coordinate system we occupy. We're not omnipresent. Okay? We don't have fourth dimensional control. We're humans. So as a result, every single decision point that I've made in my life has shaped me on the linear time path that I occupy in the universe. So I don't regret anything. I don't regret anything. So back to your question, you say, and I'm sorry I'm getting a little deep here, but this is important. You need to, I hope don't regret a purchase. Are you crazy? Because you learn from everything that's bad. What? You don't want the bad things to happen? That's not a human life. You're living in some kind of idealized world that's not real. Pragmatism, not idealism. Always remember that. Okay? Giving you life advice, free, no charge. So knowing what I know now, how would PEW Science change my first silencer purchase? It wouldn't even know. No, that question doesn't exist. That possibility, that permutation of existence doesn't exist. So I can't answer it really because it has no meaning. Okay, but if I had to change any, if you're asking me if I could go back. And if I could do something else in addition to something, or I could do something what would I want people to know? What would I want you to know if you're getting into silencers? I would say get a 22 silencer. Because a 22 silencer is important. It's probably the most important silencer to own. But I wasn't really super into rimfire when I got into silencers. I was into killing. like people, okay? And you don't kill a lot of people with a 22. So why would I have got... don't you understand? You see what I mean? You can't go back in time, guys. We don't have the technology. And the reason we don't have the technology, yeah, there's some physics involved with the reason, but another reason is because the nature of time and why it has to be like this. The nature of existence is not to allow time travel. You're meant to be a traveler in that dimension. You're a human. Humans aren't meant to do that. You have to be superhuman, above human, and you're not. Okay, so you don't get to decide that. I don't like those questions because you're not understanding the nature of time, and it's important. You know what's really important? You need to understand if you follow PEW Science and you read pewscience.com, time is important. We use time, the time dimension, and all the waveforms. Dynamics is my technical research area throughout my career, and it's the most important thing for a human to understand. Nothing you do in life is independent of time. Time is the most important dimension for you to understand as a human, and if you don't understand it and you don't have an appreciation for it, you're gonna not have you're gonna have a bad time in life. Okay, so right here, no regrets. That should be your motto. Never go back. Always look forward. Never look in your rear view mirror. Don't look side to side. Always push forward and win. So get a 222 silencer if you don't have one because they're awesome. Okay, it's the most important type of silencer. It's Hollywood quiet. And that's not YouTube marketing. That's real life. It's 22. All right. I went really deep on that one. Scared a lot of people. It's fine. Question 288, sub-question 91. Is there any possibility of testing for straight European can manufacturers? So, he means silencer manufacturers, he or she. Yes. You're asking me in a very specific way. You're saying, is there any possibility? And I'm saying, yes, there is. I've actually spoken with an importer. It's possible. We might do it. I don't know when or what, but it'll happen eventually, for sure. Thank you for the question. There are some cool overseas stuff that I would like to test, but there's not a lot. There's one thing I saw that was cool recently that I would love to test, but actually I just let it shoot. Something I saw the other day, but I don't want to mention on the podcast because I don't want to create some kind of international incident. Question 289, so question 92. On Helios QD testing on 556, the outer annulus was not utilized fully. Is longer barrel expected to be the same or do the same thing? Good question, sir, ma'am. You know what? Longer barrel is going to change things with 556. I've been talking to people. People need to really understand that. Not with the Helios specifically, but just with 556 combustion. The Mark 18 is so dumb. I love it and hate it. It's going to change things, but I'm not exactly sure how it changes it in a specific technical way. For the Helios QD, I need to do more testing. All right, I know the answer sucks. I'm sorry. Question 290, sub-question 93. Any updates on the funnel style muzzle device you posted recently for the Helios QD? That's funny. They're asking about the Helios QD a lot in this one. You know what? I guess I must have just had the solicitation when I had just released those reviews. Yeah, the funnel... It works, guys. It turns the Helios QD into a Helios DT or a Hyperion K. What it does, it increases the performance of the silencer on the Mark 18. That's right. I tested it. I might publish that sometime for you PEW Science members. The mount that they're talking about in this question, it's a funnel. It's a one-off that CGS made for me when I showed them the analysis from the initial test, and I told them what would happen if they made that mount, and so they made it the same day. And then they mailed it to me. And the next time I was able to, I used PEW Science internal funding to test it. And it did exactly what I said it was going to do. It turned into a Helios DT. It was awesome. So, more or less. I thought that was cool. So, there's your answer to that. Question 291, sub-question 94. Oh, this is a long one. One second. You know, I must have transcribed this in 3 parts because I wrote 3 parts in the question block here from the lady or gentleman who asked it. Excuse me. So this is a long one. They're asking, they're prefacing their question, if you can get a donor-barreled action, would there be value in creating a sound comparison or baseline to show how much barrel length affects suppression rating. So start out at, say, 26 inches for .308 Winchester and then cut 2 inches at a time and see if the suppression rating changes all the way down to, say, 16 inches. Then that then allows people, albeit as a rule of thumb, to gauge the rough effectiveness of a suppressor for their individual use case. Would be specific to one suppressor and take effort to rethread the barrel each time, but could be useful. That is a great research idea, sir or ma'am, and I understand your question. There are some technical things that are going to throw you for a loop when you do that, and it would be really awesome to see if to do it with each silencer, to have all of those different barrel lengths to test. And I could do it with like one silencer to see, and then another silencer. Well, I'm so sorry. It's not you guys. I had one of those yawns. It's been hitting me lately. I could do that. Someone would need to fund that, guys. That's a big effort. And you know what? Maybe a PEW Science member company would fund it. It's not cheap. The testing and analysis program to do something like that, that's a research study. But if it would help the industry, I would do it. It needs to be a research program sponsored by a silencer company or a firearm company or both. That's my opinion on that. I think that would need to be sponsored by a firearm company. If they want to fund the study, we could do a tremendous research study. And I want to say, this is the last question. We did it. Okay? And I'm going to go a little longer on this answer. And I want to say something now that I've answered his or her question. I want to say something for the record. First, and I didn't really plan on talking about this, but I wanted to, first of all, I want to thank all of you for asking all these questions. That was 291 questions from the public that have been answered in this podcast. There was a couple we omitted just because they were super inflammatory and I didn't want to cause industry problems, but that's basically 291 questions. Almost 300 questions answered in depth. Not yes or no, but in depth on this podcast. And that's a really big deal. And I thank you all for asking them, because everyone benefited from the question and the answer that listen. And there's thousands of people listening. Okay, so they're hearing that. And so thank you. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. I really do mean that. That's 4 solicitations going back all the way to, I don't know when we started this, but I have a huge spreadsheet and they're all in here. All these questions. And so thank you. And just so we know, I'm going to highlight that last row just to show that we did it. So when we add more to our spreadsheet, we'll just know. I like to keep a record, obviously, of everything I do. It's like a time capsule. So I'll say, I wanted to add some more to my answer to that last question. And, you're asking me for this, and could you do this, or could you do that? And you're asking for like something that I know you don't know how much it costs, and that's okay. And I don't want to complain about money or anything, but the reality of all of this work that is done and the level of effort that goes into it is that it's real. And the members make it happen, but it's not like it's enough to then take on some of these larger studies. Like if you were to go, I want to give you guys, some of you are like, yeah, we know, but no, but a lot of you don't. A lot of you might not understand. If you were to go, let's say you were to go to I don't know, an engineering consultancy or a think tank or a research organization or a test laboratory like PEW Science or other organizations with tens or hundreds of people that work for them, and you were to ask them, can you do it? Can you do what this later gentleman just asked me to do with the multiple barrel lengths and all this stuff and the engineering analysis? And you'd ask them for that. I'm going to tell you right now, the cost that they would quote you to do that research program meaningfully and give you actual answers is going to be more money than you think. And I'm not saying this like, I'm not trying to say I'm never going to do that or da-da-da, but what I'm trying to tell you is like, this lady gentleman asking that question, that's a great question. I'm glad I read it, and I'm going to tell them the answer is yes. Because he's asking me, would there be value in that? Absolutely, there would be value in that. Someday, maybe PEW Science is going to be at the point where that's the type of study that we can do for the public and for our members, and we're, and it's going to be awesome. Like, maybe we're there, but right now, we're not quite there to where I can just say, yep, no problem, then go to do that this weekend or something, because I just don't, there's not enough time with all the other stuff going on. Okay. But when you guys give me these big pie in the sky ideas, I want you to know that I'm not dismissing them, and I do think they're cool, and I want to do them, but I can't get to them all. And I've done a lot of stuff I want to show you, but this is one that, dang, in a perfect world, I do it. And I participate in research in a variety of different industries, and the desires and the great ideas that you guys have, they're awesome. And they're in other industries. There are people just like you that work in the industries that sometimes they ask for research. They pitch research ideas, and they ask for studies to be done. And sometimes they have to be told, it's not in the budget this year. Or, maybe in the third quarter we'll do this, or, and that happens, and that's real. And PEW Science is no different. And I just, so when I give you an answer that might be disappointing, which I sometimes do, I know the answers are disappointing. I give you sometimes. Know that it's not like it's unique. Like, sometimes it's just not going to happen in the time period you want, but it will. Okay. Don't think that it's just because PEW Science can't do it. It's like, no, it's because like a lot of organizations like this have that limitation, even when they have 100 people working there. Everyone has constraints on their research budget and their research time. And so I think that these ideas, and this is why I'm actually keeping these, one of the reasons why I keep the question spreadsheet maintained and backed up, is because when I go in, I look at what people really want, and sometimes you have these nuggets of wisdom and nuggets of great ideas. I keep them, and I look back at this, and when we do some internal testing, we go back and we see what else we can do. Like, for example, like the PEW Science SCAR project, like that's an industry effort to help the general public and FN and everything, just out of the goodness of my heart, really. But and with a personal interest in it. But that project might have some of the stuff in it too, because we have the 16-inch barrel, we have the 13-inch barrel. You see what we can do? So while sometimes we can't duplicate your exact desire in, your thesis, your ask here, we can sometimes work some in to explore phenomenology as it comes, and as it comes to be practical. Understand? Okay. So with that, thank you for that question. Thank you all again for all of these questions. And I will soon do another question solicitation when I have some time, and we'll get another group. It'll be up to date, and it will be the 5th round. So round number 5 coming up. Stay tuned. I'm saving the spreadsheet, and I'm closing it. I think we started this in episode 54, by the way. Now we're in episode 132. How about them apples? Boom. Okay, perfect. Okay, let's move into topic 2 at a time of 1 hour and 14 minutes and 13 seconds. You know what? I thought this was going to be a super short podcast today. Turns out it's not. 1 second. Okay, making great time. Topic 2, new sound signature reviews this week. Oh man, multiple reviews, an important data set it is. I made a novel discovery, guys. I found something cool. I'm so excited to show you. I'm so dang excited. You know what? Let me say this. While we're being honest with each other, I'm always honest with you, but sometimes I'm more candid than other times. I don't like when people hype things for the sake of hyping them. I don't like it. It's not my thing. I don't like when people tease releases or drops, as the kids say. Nowadays they call them drops. I use that word too. I think it's funny. That's why I use it. But I'll tell you this. When I'm excited about something, you're going to know. Yeah. Because not only do I have trouble hiding my excitement due to my personality, I don't want to hide it. I don't like hiding my excitement. I like to be honest and forthright. I'm very outgoing. And so the whole point of PEW Science is to help people find out what the coolest stuff is, right? Like, I want to figure out how everything works so that I can have the best stuff and you can too. Like, that's what I want to do. It's literally in the DNA of the company. This effort, this is my creation, and I'm using it to find out how everything ticks. Like, I've told you the motivation before. Like, this is like, it's like, did he just wake up one day and he's like, yeah, basically. Yeah, so this week, what I'm going to do is I'm going to publish 2 articles for you. You can take these articles and compare the results from each article that I published this week from the 2. And you will see something that is happening that I think before this analysis was performed, we did not know was possible. We did not know. Okay. So now, there might be some people out there that knew it was possible. Maybe, somewhere, somehow, maybe. It's a big world, so I don't like to talk in absolutes. So I'm kind of hesitant. I'm hesitant to say that this is the first time in the history of mankind someone's going to give you the conclusions I'm going to give you this week. I hesitate to say that. But... but I think it might be true. And if what I'm publishing is correct, and here I'm giving a caveat. Okay, I'm not too proud to admit mistakes if there's any. What I'm saying, if what I'm publishing is correct, which I believe it to be, after literally checking it 3 times and then doing internal ballistic calculations to verify that it has to be correct, it actually has to be correct. There's physics that line up. I proved it. So that being said, if what I am publishing this week is correct, it is, in my opinion, one of the craziest conclusions ever presented publicly in the history of suppressed small arms. And I believe it will completely change the way some people view a certain type of host weapon. That's what I think. Excuse me. A lot of times when you change host weapons, you expect certain things to happen. You listening, I expect, you expect, we all expect. We have expectations. What I am seeing in the data that I'm publishing this week, it flies in the face of those expectations. Now, I know why. Now I know why. But before I shot it, I didn't know. So now I'm excited. I'm excited to share it with you. Okay? So how's that for hype? Have I ever hyped anything like that? Like I just did? No. Have I ever been excited about anything like I am about this? No, I don't think so. I don't think I've been as excited. I mean, maybe. The Huxworks data was pretty good that one day. The Flow 556K, yeah, I was really excited about that. But I'm excited about this too. Yeah, am I as excited? Let me think. Am I as excited about this as I was about the Flow silencer? You know what? It's not fair. That's not a fair comparison because I think overall the entire OSS thing, like the Huxworks journey I went through from like totally like thinking it was all BS to like eventually proving to myself that it was real, like that entire thing is a pretty big deal. So that's actually a pretty big deal. This that I'm releasing this week, I think it's just as big a deal for a different reason. So I'm gonna say it's a big deal. I'm going to say that I don't know that I've ever shown anyone something this important. Probably. It might be a tie. I don't know. It's a pretty big deal. Buckle up. Actually, you know what I will say? Silencer lovers are about to either lose their minds or call me a liar. It doesn't matter to me, but that's my prediction. Oh, I'll give you a hint. The client didn't even know this could happen. So they found out recently as well. You feel me? So you get to join them. Join them, won't you? Join them for science time this week. Be there. PEW Science. That's right. Okay. He's laying it on thick. That's right. Topic 3 at a time of 1 hour, 20 minutes, and 18 seconds. I'm a goofball today. It's okay. Topic 3. Yeah, we're in the tail end of 2022, and yes, the PEW Science effort is strong, and thank you for guys for that. You guys, the PEW Science members are stuck with it. You really have, and the support has fueled really great research, and we're adding more weapons to the standard all the time. The data applicability is continuing to grow. Thanks for making it all a reality, all of this stuff, and we have some test programs that are still slated to kick off here in quarter 4, which is the fourth quarter of the year here. And it's really interesting. And how is it already the fourth quarter? That's crazy. So that part of PEW Science is going strong. And another part that's going strong is the member support, and that's helping with the good research. And I'm gearing up to publish some internally funded tests, hopefully in the coming weeks after the stuff you see this week. And so I want to there's some stuff I want to get out that's overdue. And the things that I think I talked about in listener questions, some of that stuff is really, it's a product of grassroots support, and I'm so excited to do that for you guys. And I really need to get some of those kicked off. All these contracted tests are great, but I want to get back to some of the internally funded stuff, and so that's what we need to keep happening. This grassroots funded stuff, and I'm pleased it's happening. We're gonna start to see some more test hosts actually crop up here and there. I think that's important. Slowly but surely that's happening. I think 9mm is going to be a really fun area to explore, and the amount of hosts it uses it's really exciting too. You're going to learn so much about 9mm. That's really good. So thank you. I use one of these topics every week to thank you guys. So thanks for making the research a reality. I'm excited for the data you guys are going to get this week. Actually, I will say this. I want to say something else about that data that's coming this week. It's my hope personally, and PEW Science's hope, that companies see the data this week and they try to mimic the behavior of what you're going to see, because I want this to start a revolution. Because now that I know what I'm going to show you is actually possible, it means other things might be possible too. I believe the conclusions this week are going to be that important. Okay? That I believe it to be that important, and I think that's it for the industry. So I hope people pay attention, and that's why I'm so excited. Okay, so stay tuned, stay safe, and I will talk with you folks again soon. Okay, bye.